Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to do something a little different. We're diving deep into this really fascinating digital archive, almost like digital archaeologists, to piece together a story about what it really takes to build a career right now in the 21st century.
I know, right? It sounds like the setup to a really weird joke. But the answer is, well, it's actually pretty profound. All of these things, the diploma, the code, the schematic, they're all fragments. They're puzzle pieces from this one single, absolutely massive personal archive that documents this one person's incredible learning journey. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to connect all these seemingly random pieces and see if we can build a kind of blueprint, a blueprint for the modern professional.
Okay, so picture this. Forget the polished resume for a second. Imagine trying to understand someone's entire career just from the raw data. I'm talking course registrations, technical notes, legal filings, even custom code they wrote themselves. That's exactly what we're doing here. We're piecing together a career from literally thousands of these digital artifacts.
All right, so let's start with the anchor, the big prize, right? This right here is a National N Diploma in Electrical Engineering. It's the real deal, a formal, validated qualification. This is the official document, the tangible goal that everything else we're about to see, well, it's all kind of orbiting around this one piece of paper. But here's the thing, a formal diploma, that's just the starting line. This is the other side of the coin. It's the reality of continuous corporate training. What you're looking at is a dashboard from Schneider Electric, a huge player in energy management, and look at that, 140 courses listed, with training actively in progress. It's just such a powerful reminder that in a field like this, you never, ever stop learning.
And then you stumble across fragments like this one. Now, this isn't course material, it's custom computer code written in Visual Basic. So think about that. This person wasn't just taking courses, they were actively building their own tools to manage all this information. This is where you start to see there's a much deeper story going on here, a story about self-organization and a really systematic way of taming chaos.
Wow. And then you see the sheer detail of it all. This table, it breaks down professional knowledge into these tiny, tiny measurable bits. I mean, look at this. It's allocating just 2 hours for introduction of trade skill and another 2 for personal protective equipment. This really pulls back the curtain on the bureaucratic reality of validating hands-on training. It's another one of those crucial puzzle pieces.
Okay, so we've got all these fragments, right? We've got the formal diploma, the corporate training, the bureaucratic tables, and even the self-made code. But how do they all fit together? Well, to figure that out, we've got to understand the official framework, the rules of the game that give it all meaning.
And that brings us to SAQA, the South African Qualifications Authority. Now, this is really important. The easiest way to think of SAQA is like the referee or the rule maker of education in South Africa. They're the official body that makes sure a diploma from one place means the exact same thing as a diploma from anywhere else. They do this through something called the National Qualifications Framework, the NQF, which is basically the master system for classifying every single qualification. And believe me, they take this framework very seriously. A SAQA-compliant diploma is so much more than just a piece of paper. As you can see here, it has a registered ID, an NQF level, level 6 in this case, and a specific number of credits. And check this out, it's even loaded with security features, QR codes, watermarks, holograms. Every single piece of this is designed to make the qualification totally verifiable and, actually valuable.
Okay, so now we know the rules of the game. We understand the framework. So now we can start to trace the actual path this person took. And what we find, well, it's not a straight line at all. It's more like a rich patchwork quilt, a journey pieced together from all these different experiences.
When you really look at it, this journey has 3 main threads, all woven together. First, you've got the formal education. That's completing the N1 through N6 certificates, the theoretical foundation. Then, you've got the super specialized corporate training, learning specific industrial systems like EcoStruxure. And then there's the third thread, self-directed study. This person was diving into cutting-edge stuff like AI and machine learning on their own. So it's not one single path, it's like 3 paths running in parallel.
Now, it's also really important to be clear about the type of path we're talking about here. This was a National N Diploma, and that's different from a more academic National Diploma. The N Diploma is all about the job. It's occupationally driven. And here's the key part. It doesn't just require the certificates. It also demands 18 to 24 months of verified, hands-on work experience. So this qualification is deeply, deeply rooted in the practical, real world.
Okay, now this is where the story gets really interesting. We're about to pivot.
We're going to stop talking about what this person learned and start looking at how they learned it. We're talking about the systems they built to manage the whole journey themselves. And honestly, this is the most innovative, mind-blowing part of the entire archive. So as we go through the documents, this one term keeps popping up, logogram. It's just a French word for a flowchart or a decision flow. But think about what that means. This person wasn't just randomly deciding what to learn next. Nope, they were systematically mapping out the logic of every single process, basically creating their own personal roadmaps to get through really complex stuff. And here's a perfect example of that in action. This is a logogram they built for an academic credit tracker. It's a step-by-step logical sequence to verify their own educational progress. They basically created a system to audit the school's process, just to make sure every single credit was accounted for. I mean, that is just next-level self-management, right? And it gets even better. This is a line of code they wrote. They called it an algorithm, the algorithm that powers the logogram. And what does this little bit of code do? It automatically classifies the impact of a document based on how many people have viewed it. Just stop and think about that for a second. They built a system to analyze and categorize their own work. It's just an incredible display of proactive, systematic thinking.
Okay, so let's pull back. Let's zoom out. What does all of this mean when you put all the pieces together? What we're looking at here isn't just one person's journey. It really is a potential blueprint for what it takes to succeed in today's complex, technical world.
I think you can boil it all down to 4 key roles that this modern professional has to play. First, you've got the student, constantly learning from everywhere. Second, the technician, the person with deep, practical, hands-on skills. Third, the bureaucrat, someone who can navigate all the complex rules and frameworks. And finally, and this might be the most important one, the systems architect, the person who is proactively building their own tools, their own logograms to manage all that complexity and drive their own progress.
And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. We're all kind of drowning in information, right? Endless courses, qualifications, things we should be learning. So maybe, just maybe, the most critical skill for the future isn't just learning, but building the systems to manage all that learning. So the question for you is, what systems are you building for yourself?